Hey, what's going on there? Welcome to S'more Than a Story, where we sit, just cook some s'mores, and we're going to talk about some history. So today's topic is the Cold War on the home front, and how it changed the daily lives of children through both fear and through culture. So, join me, grab a stick, and let's get toasty. So before we begin, today's higher order thinking question to consider is the following. How did Cold War civil defense initiatives from the 1950s to the 1980s evolve from immediate nuclear response strategies to tools for promoting American ideological conformity, and how do they shape youth culture, education, and perceptions of national identity across 3 decades of intensifying and transforming geopolitical fear? Listen, I know this is very wordy and a little confusing when you hear it at first. So, what we're here to do today is break it all down for you. But, before we get started with this all, we need a stick. Not just any stick, we need a perfect stick. Alright? So, trying to find it. Here she is. Look at this bad boy. Got some leaves on the top. Look at that. Perfect. It almost looks like a Harry Potter wand. I spent a lot of time looking for the stick, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, and I would say that he's ready to cook a s'more. Look. Got my marshmallows. Got my chocolate. And, of course, I got my graham crackers. So, without further ado, let's do it. Where do we start off? Let's get some context for some background. So, I'm sure you all know what the Cold War is. And for the most part, at least, we studied it in school. It was a series of proxy wars between the U.S. and the Soviet Union, where they faced the threat of nuclear war, blah, blah, blah. We know all this stuff. At least I'd hope we do. But what no one ever focuses on is what was going on in people's lives. People quite similar to you and me. So now, we're going to get into some examples of this and explain their effects on society. Cue the video.
Turtle was very alert. When danger threatened him, he never got hurt. He knew just what to do. He ducked and covered.
So, in 1951, Bert the Turtle up there, he told kids in school to duck and cover in case of a nuclear bomb. I mean, think about that. Imagine coming home from school and your mom's like, "Oh, what'd you learn in school today, Connor?" And I'm like, "I learned how to go under my desk and duck and cover in case we get nuked." I mean, and if you think about it the other way, I mean, this just all seems a little silly, doesn't it? A little desk protecting you from the apocalypse and presumably the end of the world. I mean, but this video, it was more than just a video shown to kids in school for safety. It was a way to teach them how to behave, how to think, and more importantly, how to fear. I mean, think about that. Imagine you're going to school to learn how to fear, how to be prepared for war, like in 3rd grade. I don't remember learning that in 3rd grade, but that might just be me. And this video, it wasn't just a school drill to be practiced every day. It was a national ritual. It completely reinforced the idea that America was under constant threat. I mean, which it kind of was. And it taught children that being obedient and following the rules, it made you somehow more patriotic. I mean, the government wasn't just looking to protect these kids. It really shaped them as future citizens. I'm gonna start toasting this thing now. Let's do it. Nice and easy. I mean, In this video, I mean, it functioned both as a civil defense tool as well as an ideological defense tool for training. I mean, it planted loyalty and fear into the classroom, and which transformed education into a battleground for Cold War beliefs. But listen, don't just take it from me. Before this, I listened to an oral history from a person who actually grew up in this time. Born in 1950 and raised in Los Angeles. He spoke, and he remembered about all the drills, bomb shelters, and air raid sirens he was exposed to growing up. The most important thing, though, that he remembered, at least from my takeaway, was how persistent and normal it was to fear death in his life. I mean, he said in his talk, we were just kids, but we were taught that we might die at any minute. That changes how you see the world. This is real childhood trauma, and it's rooted from push to national identity. I mean, kids at the time, they didn't get to be carefree. They were turned into mini soldiers of ideology. They were prepared, obedient, and very much afraid. Look at that. She's on fire. We're gonna let her go, because I like my marshmallow to be a little toasty. I think that's the whole point of it. I think it's supposed to be like that. A lot of people don't like it. Wow. Stuff's the best. I love Hershey chocolate. I'm not even joking. I could eat this entire thing by itself without the rest of the s'more. I mean, but unfortunately that would ruin the entire point of this video. So, let's get started on building our marshmallow and chocolate sandwich. So, as the Cold War stretched throughout the 60s and into the 70s even, civil defense in the U.S. became less about survival and became more about shaping minds. Education programs, textbooks, and a lot of other school media became centered around the same idea. America equals good, Soviets equal evil. Obedience equals safety. Think of that. Let me get mine. Graham cracker? Uh-oh. Marshmallow's coming off. So there are programs such as Alert America and even different classroom materials, which all heavily emphasize this conformity that I'm talking about. It was the real hidden lesson behind the drills. Historians such as Susan Lin noticed how education in the Cold War, it wasn't just about arithmetic. It was about ideology. I mean, you could even see it, this tension in kids, in their lifestyles. Look at G.I. Joe, for example, or there were literally superhero comics they would literally fight communists. And they even had Fallout shelter toys. I mean, think about how crazy that is. Imagine buying a Fallout shelter toy during the Cold War. I think that's crazy. I think that's like the equivalent of buying a toy that's like Russia versus Ukraine. Right? Like, it's crazy. I do not think I could have made a better s'more. A little crisp, a little crunch, a little gooey in the middle, some sweet, savory chocolate. Anyways, so the longer the Cold War went on, the more it was really starting to soak into American identity. I mean, by the 70s and 80s, youth culture, it just completely reflected on both resistance and national ideas. I mean, though the kids in the 80s, they didn't watch the duck and cover videos and they didn't participate in that stuff, but they still saw movies on TV such as The Day After or even read dystopian stories in school, which definitely still feared the big red button that would make everything go boom. I haven't had a s'more in so long. I gotta make these more often. I gotta do more of these. I'm good at this. So, secondary sources, such as like Cold War Kids, they show how the media and education programs, they continued to push these Cold War values even as nuclear paranoia faded. I mean, kids were still learning that they were learning more than just facts. They were learning what it meant to be an American, and that true obedience and identity was created through fear. I mean, listen, at the end of it all, my purpose here today on this podcast isn't to educate you about bombs or bunkers or even the Cuban Missile Crisis. It's about how fear changes people, and in this case, people of our country. It's about how a child's mind can be shaped not through just what they're learning in school, but by what they're taught to be afraid of. Think about that. Wow. That'll be. All done. Wow. Just wow. Sweet on the outside, but a little burnt up in the middle. Just like Cold War childhoods. Sorry. I had to say it. That was a bad joke. I should cut that out. That was bad. But anyways, with that, thank you all for tuning into S'mores Than a Story. I hope that tonight, by the fire, you heard something that will stick with you. Maybe it'll even change how you think about fear and how our nation shapes the future. One young mind at a time. Good night, everyone.